Shut up and sit down.
Luke Henry, after kicking Monarch's ass to the depths of space, is back on Earth, and now he's looking to save the world from the Fourth World Foundation. Sure, he had help from Penumbra before, but she's not helping him this time. He's got to face it on his own. Look at these four people. He's coming for a villain known as Adonis. He'll do it. You'll be there. Back it now. First Man 2, Learning Curve.
Well, good morning, everyone. How are you? I'm back. Mornings with Andy. Was not here yesterday because so much going on in the Smith household. So much going on. And I probably won't be here tomorrow because I have to go to Fayetteville for a 2-day convention. Woo! Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. So everybody, good morning. Val already popping the link. Thank you so much for doing that. Always appreciated when you guys do that stuff for me. Just looking down at something here. Oh, I got to add some. Okay. All right. I was just looking at something on the campaign. That's right. Fragaboom, Fayetteville. Woo! Dan's going. I'm going. We requested to sit next to each other, so hopefully that'll come through as well. Thank God I don't have the same amount of drive time that Dan does. My drive's a little bit shorter, 2.5 hours. So there you go. What's good with you, JP? AJ's in the house. Adams, hello. Afternoon. God, I'm glad it's not the afternoon here. And there you go. So do a live stream with Fraga. If Fraga wants to jump on, look at those 40 long boxes. Not quite 40, but there's a bunch. You know, if 6.5 hours, oof. Are you taking the route that has you go through Charlotte? Because if you are, you should stop by the old Smith homestead. Just saying. Dan, if you want to jump on, I'll send you the link. If you're too busy, that's fine too. It's totally up to you. Totally up to you. Let me know, and I can make it work either way. He says he'll see, so maybe Dan will be in this domicile. You never know. You never know. So anyhow, First Man 2 Learning Curve. Since I showed the trailer, busy morning with the baby. I totally understand. On Saturday, you'll be saying the exact same thing, but the baby is going to mean me. So people understand that. Saturday morning, you'll be like, oh, thought I was getting away from the baby. But no, Smith is here, and he cries like a little bee, little bitch. I do. So, and after I eat, Dan might have to throw me over his shoulder and pat my back to get me to burpee a little bit as well. You never know. Dan's that type of guy that would help a brother out like that. So there it is, First Man 2 Learning Curve. We might be able to go live from the show. First Man 2 Learning Curve got up to the 550. Thank you all so much. I really, really appreciate that. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. We've got to the 550 backers. Let's keep it going. Sharing is caring. And yes, Fragaboom, we will be live Friday night doing Fragtober. I got to make sure I bring my my flexible camera arm thing so I can set my cell phone on it to record as I'm drawing and stuff. It'll be interesting. Hotel rooms are generally dark, even with all the lights on, but I'm going to make it work, damn it. So there you go. First Man 2 Learning Curve. Get on it now if you haven't already. Please subscribe to the channel as well. Get yourself a limited edition t-shirt. Get yourself the book. The featured tier, of course, is volume 1, 2, and the program book. The program book, what's that? It's a 40-page book that shows behind the scenes making of with First Man, as well as it has some art by the likes of Adam Hughes, Brian Hitch, Bart Sears, Alan Davidson, George Perez, just to name a few, showing some First Man stuff off. So there you go. Here's some new art that I posted from the book. So got some art here. Look at these 4 people. Oh, you know it. I had to say it. So there's that. All right, guys, let's get to why you're actually here. Why you're actually here is you guys want to see Jim Starlin pencils and my inks. So start with a bang, right? Look at this splash page. Look at this splash page. Sorry, the scan's not darker. Jim was really cool when I got this gig. So the way this gig came about is I was talking to a buddy of mine, Rob Hunter, who was an inker at DC for a long time. And we were talking on the phone, and he just said, man, I just had to turn down a gig over Jim Starlin. And I said, why would you turn that down? Because he inked Jim over at DC some. I said, so why the hell would you turn that down? And he's like, because I'm exclusive at DC and it's for Marvel. And I was like, oh. I said, well, would you mind if I contacted Jim about inking it? And he goes, dude, knock your socks off. So I've known Jim since like 1992 or 93. So, and this goes back to 2012 or so, 2013 maybe. So I sent Jim an email and I said, hey, Jim, I hear you're doing something at Marvel and you might need an inker. I'd love to do it if you don't have somebody. And he wrote me back and said, that would be fantastic. I'll mention it to the editor. So bing, bang, boom, just like that. I was inking Jim Starlin. So let me zoom in on some of these pencils. Not that tight. There you go. That's pretty good. And I'll zoom in on my inks here. This stuff was inked. This might surprise some of you guys. So I was using a brush, like I always say, for the outlines and stuff. That's right. Smash that like, and thank you very much. Oh, AJ says, we come for you. The Starlin stuff's just gravy. Well, thank you. Let me zoom in on this one to get a little more. There's no way we'll go through 100 pages of stuff here. So Jim told me, he goes, look, he goes, and I never really saw Jim's pencils before this job. So before I even got the pencils in, Jim said, just so you know, I don't pencil super tight. So feel free to do, basically, he said, whatever you want. You're the inker. I like what you do. So just take the stuff. I don't pencil super tight. Do whatever you want. And I was like, oh, okay. And then I get the pencils and I'm like, I mean, they're pretty tight. If you ask me, all their lighting, all the rendering is there. You can definitely see how an inker would go in and interpret things. And, there was no nerves behind it. People asked me, were you nervous thinking Jim Starlin? And no, not at all. I got out my brush, did the brush work. And then after doing some brush work, I would take out a fine point marker and do the rendering. Now, these pages, after I scan them in Photoshop, there's an adjustment called threshold. And what threshold does is threshold will literally take out all the gray pixels. So there's only white pixels and black pixels. So it takes out all the gray. So if I didn't erase the page well enough or something, no worries, all the gray's taken out. So all this Jim stuff I would threshold. Now, by doing that, some of the finer feathering I did with the pen would disappear. But, that's okay. The funny thing is now on my first man stuff I don't threshold anything. I just adjust the levels. Levels is a setting that you can adjust to make the blacks and the darks darker. And then on the other side, you can pull the slider over to lighten up things, the whites and stuff. So I use that now. After I ink this, I send the pages back to Jim before they go off to the editor. And you can see that Jim went in after I inked this page and took this one ship right here and copied the crap out of it and pasted it down to make it look like a huge armada of ships back there. AJ says, that's fantastic. I can't remember who Jim's regular inker is, but he should have requested you full time after this. I basically worked with Jim after this on everything he penciled. And then when he got back to doing, because I did a couple covers over Jim, I did a bunch of stuff over Jim. After this was over, Jim didn't draw much, and then when he got back to drawing, it was Dreadstar Returns, and he had this other person ink it, but I was doing something else anyhow, so I couldn't. So, we just had to move on, basically. Oh, this was a fun page. And I did, I always say I don't sell my work, but I don't sell generally pages that I pencil and ink, but I do sell stuff that I ink over other people. You can see on this page, by the way, Jim did the same thing, went in, took the one ship and just statted it and statted some ships as well and just filled up the sky with ships and mosquito bugs. So I would have done the same thing. It just saves time. Anyhow, so I sold almost all this stuff, but I kept a few pages from each book. So I still have some primo pages and a nice cover that I inked over Jim in my collection. This was cool. Jim is one of the guys that does great big shots. The way he crafts his story, he does really nice big shots and stuff. And I love big shots in my own work. So this was a fun page to ink. I hope the pencils show good enough. Let me do this. I'll full screen it. You guys don't need to see my face. There we go. No need to see my face. This is all about pencils and inks comparison side by side. So you can see, Jim's pencils here on this great giant Annihilus figure. I did not, I can't remember who colored it, but I'm glad it wasn't me. And then you can see my inks here. One of the reasons I started doing my feathering and my rendering with a pen, a micron type pen, and I kind of flick it away instead of a brush is because it gives it more of a illustrative look. You can see some things. Let's see what happens when I do that. Oh, nope, that's not the way. This is as big as the page gets. So I just want to show you, for instance, you can see what Jim did on the shoulder there. And then over here on the inks, inking is interpretation. So you can see Jim did this feather and cross hatching on the deltoid as it wraps in to the arm, and I did more of a solid black, and I pulled the feathering differently and stuff. But once again, it's not so overpowering that you don't look at this and go, oh, that's Jim Starlin, just with a different inker. Jim's had a lot of great inkers. I mean, God, Jim's been in the business 50 years. He's worked with great inkers, Joe Rubenstein, Al Milgram, Alan Weiss. I cannot remember the girl's name who was inking Dreadstar Returns right now. But do I think I was one of Jim's best inkers? It's a secret, but I do. No, I mean, I had a lot of fans come up and just say that, wow, this is a different level of Jim that we haven't seen before. You really, really just the techniques and stuff you really did a great job. And, I think I did a really nice job interpreting Jim's pencils and inking the work. Side by side of a close up of whoever this dude is compared to the inks. Morning. Thank you for joining. I just dropped a rap. Yo. Justin asked, do you have to get into a similar mindset as the penciler so emotions and sentiments are consistent? It seems like there can't be any disconnect. No, not really. Not really. My favorite stuff from Jim is Dreadstar and Breed. This is better than that. I may have to track this down. 3 Thanos hardcovers. AJ, just to let you know, I've got a couple of them for sale. So you could buy them from me. I can mail them to you and sign them and everything. So let me know. Shoot me a direct message or an email, and we could go that route if you want. Just once again, kind of showing the difference, subtle differences. You got this arm. Jim's stuff is so clean. He must lightbox because the stuff is just so clean to look at. I don't have all 3 hardcovers. I just have, let me see what hardcover I do have while you guys look at this page. Oh, wait, I put them back. Anyhow, I've got a couple of these hardcovers. So it was the Thanos graphic novels were a set of 3 that Jim did, and then Jim did another 3 that he just wrote, and Alan Davis and Mark Farmer did the art because Jim had to back out of drawing the 3rd hardcover to this series that we did because of a issue with his hand, and Ron Lim did it. So I inked it over Ron Lim. But so Jim and I did 2 hardcovers, and we did a Hulk versus Thanos miniseries as well. So I have a couple of the hardcovers and extras that I would be glad to sell if anybody's interested, and I can sign them, and you pay for shipping. There's a nice Drax shot, so you can see kind of the before and after. Like I said, I love doing a brush outline because it just gives a nice bounce to it, and then the fine line work inside using the pen just gives it a different type of feel that I like. Let's see. What do we got down here? Little Star-Lord with his mask on. Oh, this was fun. Another nice shot of Drax. I got the ink right there. So I tried to put my own stamp on it, style-wise, but at the same time retaining, Jim's work. That's kind of a boring page in space. This was big shot of Adam Warlock. I tell you, when I would get these pages in from Jim, I was just fanboying out. Just like, oh my God, look at these big shots. Oops. That Jim did, that I got the ink. It's a subtle, nice mix. Thank you very much. Here you can see some differences here. Inking Ron Lim was actually a big treat as well. Ron's pencils are pretty tight, but there's enough room to still play around with his work. So you can see the differences between the two right here. Like I said, I keep his anatomy and stuff because these aren't breakdowns. These are full pencils. So it's not my job to redraw Jim's anatomy. Yeah, it is. It is a really nice gesture. Jim is slapping it down. I mean, I got to admit, when I got Dreadstar Returns, a part of me was like, oh, this would have been so fun to ink. But, I was busy doing other stuff and he went with somebody else. So it's all good. All works out. Jim has a specific way he designs robots as you can tell. Oh, nice close-up of Adam here. Very fun to draw. Slap it, what it, smack it on a ding dong. I think the compressor exploded. I don't get that reference. You guys sometimes. Very cool Adam Strange face. You know, very cool. You know, these pages, you know, these were the work pages. People are like, is comics work? And I'm like, it is, because you get, let me zoom this out. You get pages like this where it's like just a small shot of a figure to ink and then an armada, but Jim does a lot of the legwork afterwards with statting stuff. So, you know, he's smart. I'd do the exact same thing. I would draw a couple different ships and then I would just start copying them in Photoshop and repasting them down to show that there's this big armada. Are you talking about the go back and read Justin Ward's question? I assume you're talking about, do I have to get into a similar mindset as the penciler? That question, I read it and answered it, brother. No, not really. I don't really think about it mindset wise. I kind of come from the Joe Kubert school, literally, where Joe's like, hey, when you're the inker, you get the pages, they're yours. So I kind of take that. I wouldn't take it as far as Joe, where Joe would be like, oh, by the time I'm done inking this Jim Starlin stuff, it's going to look like Joe Kubert. But I take it to the extent of, these are mine now. I need to retain Jim because these are full pencils. But at the same time, when it comes to rendering, and when I mean rendering is like this stuff here coming off the rib cage, these lines that shows the form. So, you know, I can interpret those any way I want. I'm not just going to go, oh, Jim drew 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pencil hash marks, I better ink 6. No, he's trying to show the form of the rib cage wrapping around with light line work. So that's my job as the inker to get that across. Good God, I saw the inks first and thought that good for digital manipulation. I had to answer a question from a minion. That's okay. Have you ever worked with someone who didn't provide you nearly enough notes for inks, like X out black regions or really loose sketchings? Yeah, I did. I did finishes. Oh, here's another great page. I did finishes over Bart on Blade. What's up, Comic Talk? Thank you for joining. I did finishes over Bart Sears breakdowns on Blade. So those were Bart's rough pencils, and I had to go in and do spot blacks and shadows and rendering and all that stuff. I don't have scans of that stuff before and after. I think I inked some Chris Sprouse stuff, and I know on the Chris Sprouse stuff, I'm pretty sure he did breakdowns, and I did finishes for a few pages over Chris Sprouse as well. But the goal was to make it look like Sprouse, not like me in the finishes. So, you know, I looked at Chris's final work from other inkers. Any pencilers ever get pissed off? Nope. Every penciler I've worked with has had very nice things to say about the final product. I inked Daryl Banks on Green Lantern for like 6 issues, and Daryl loved the stuff. So that was nice. There you guys can see a comparison side by side of this guy. Daryl really enjoyed what I did over top of him. But the biggest compliment was I was talking to Kevin Nolan on the phone, and he said that he thought the inks I did over Daryl Banks were the best inks he ever saw over Daryl. And I was like, whoa, I wish I was recording this call so I could have a voice recording of Kevin saying that, because Kevin Nolan inked Daryl Banks on some covers and stuff. So having Kevin Nolan tell me that he thought I was the best inker he's seen over Daryl Banks. Was awesome. Yeah, man, you got to go find some of those Green Lantern issues, buddy, that I inked over them. Those were back in the photocopy pre-scan days as well, so I have photocopies somewhere of what I did, but I don't have scans. This was a fun figure to ink. I inked all the background stuff in these screens as well, so that was fun. Different characters. I still own a 2-page spread from the first graphic novel that has a big shot of Gladiator on it. I love Gladiator, so that was cool. So you got all these different characters on these monitors back here. Even Black Bolt. I have them all, son. I even have a pencil sketch of Tim Drake. Well, there you go. I got to get Daryl to do a first man. Kevin Nolan is no chump. That's for damn sure. Kevin Nolan's a guy that one day I will get him to ink something over me. Let's move on to another page. I mean, this has a big shot of death on it. Jim does great cloaks. Oh, this was a 2-page spread. Let me zoom this out a little bit. Too much. This was fun doing this line work here on the sleeve of this cloak right there. Small figures are so tough to draw. I spend more time, I think, on small figures sometime. Val, posted my link, doing it like a boss. Go back, First Man 2, if you haven't yet, get yourself a copy and go back and watch an 1.5 hour long video yesterday of my inking a page from First Man Volume 2. But the real cool part of this spread was the nice, well, the backgrounds were actually fun to do. I must say the backgrounds on this were really fun to do. But the real fun part of this spread was the second half with a big Thanos shot. This, once again, the main man himself. I love the way Jim draws rib cages and stuff. These guys just got these, he just draws like this big barrel of a rib cage. Thanos looks like a boss. Kevin Nolan, Danny Mickey, Michael Bear, and Joe Prado are in a fatal 4-way match. Who wins the championship? I'm taking Kevin Nolan out because Kevin Nolan is in his own league because of when he inks somebody, he's really doing finishes. You know, whenever Kevin Nolan inks somebody, you look at it and go, oh, Kevin Nolan. So I'm going to take him out of the running. Danny Mickey, Michael Bear, Joe Prado. I would give it up to Danny Mickey first and foremost, and then probably Joe Prado, then Michael Bear. But it's really a Sophie's choice because they're all so damn good. So you might think I like the way the torso came out the best on this Thanos, but no, I really like the way this one leg came. Well, I like the way both legs came out. I like how I did the rendering coming out of the blacks and stuff and whatnot. This was fun. I love the way he draws Thanos. This face right here came out pretty cool. Once again, Jim draws great cloaks on people. So got to do a little Galactus. I got to work on everybody in this thing. Another great shot of Thanos. Man. This job, like, if I had any regrets, I guess it would be that I should have kept some more of these pages than I kept. But people were paying, I'll be honest, people were paying really good money for this original art. So, and I kept the pages I wanted to keep and sold the rest. So, and Jim's art is just going up in value. So basically, if I ever decide to sell the pages that I still have, it'd be cool. Only 5 people watching. You deserve a bigger audience. I don't get it. This kind of info should fetch a big crowd. How do you not get discouraged by that turnout? I don't pay attention to it. I don't look at it. I don't pay attention to it. Oh, that's cool. I like stuff in black and white anyhow. Yeah, I don't pay attention to it. When I used to do open mic nights for stand-up comedy, I would get in stage in front of 20, 25 people, and I would get in stage in front of 5 people. When I did improv theater in town, where we get on stage and perform and do, improv sketches and stuff, we had shows with a couple hundred people, and we had shows with like 10 people in the audience. And you just do it and you do your best, you know? So that's what I did. Let's get a nice cool cloak here Jim's doing. So I tried to hook it up as cool as I could with different line weights and stuff. But you get that big Thanos figure. Dun, dun, dun. These were the money shots that I just really enjoyed inking so much over Jim. Oh, thank you. I'm awesome. Thank you. This issue's not enough people are clicking the bell for notifications. There you go. It's the quality of people watching, not the quantity. That's what I say. Yeah, my fans are probably night owls. I should try this at night one time just to see what happened. You can see the replay when they wake up. Exactly. Yeah, it's true. All CG people are night owls. I'm just not. But I should do one of these at night just to see the difference. I love the way Jim casts shadows. He does a great job of casting shadows real like accurately, I guess you could say. I envy that because doing cast shadows properly is difficult, and it's something I'm still working on. So, big skull right there in the foreground. Oh, did I miss a page? Page 41. Page 11. Oh, no, I know what happened. It's the way the pencils are. We'll just look at this page real quick. Another cool shot of Thanos there I got to do. This cross hatching right here was fun. I love Jim just drops his cast shadow down on his leg like that. His work just has great weight to it. Let me find page 41. Hold on here. So we can be on the same page with the pencils. There we go. I don't think I own this page still. Like I said, I kept some, I sold some. Once again, just a gladiator, one of my favorite characters. And you can see Jim did more bugs in the background of this one as well. But yeah, this gladiator figure was super fun to ink. Just, Jim's twist of anatomy and stuff was cool. There's a little tangent right here with the tip of Annihilus's finger touching the finger in the background, the fist in the background. So I did my best with line weight to pop that finger in the foreground to give it depth. The only other thing would be if I totally moved the arm, but that Jim drew it that way, and I'm not redrawing what Jim did, so not my job. Nice little clash right here. Great buildings Jim did. I love the way he does sci-fi stuff like this. Why is my... That's not live. That should be... close to it. There we go. Okay. So this is, man, that gladiator figure looks cool. I could have inked Jim for a long time. Well, I did ink Jim for a long time. I inked him for, like I said, almost 400 pages of work, but it was super fun stuff to do. Even though Marvel cheaped out on my page rate. Marvel at this time was like, well, we have, I was like, all right, inking is, I get paid a little less for inking than I do for penciling, but it's inking Jim Starlin, so no sweat. And I'm like, all right, so this is my rate. And I mentioned to them what my page rate was, and they're like, oh, no. We have A rate and B rates now, and that's your A rate. And they say we decide those rates by the budget that we have for the book. So unfortunately, the budget for this book, we're only going to be able to pay you your B rate. And I said, well, what's my B rate? I don't have one. Oh, well, we'll get you one. So my B rate was about, my B rate was lower, definitely lower than my A rate, enough to where I was like, if this wasn't Jim Starlin, I probably would just say nope. But it was a chance to work with Jim Starlin. So I was like, that's fine, whatever. I'll take the lesser rate because I want to work with Jim Starlin. It may not be your job to redraw on fixed pencils, but is that usually frowned upon or appreciated by the penciler? It depends on how much you're doing. I would never redraw something a penciler did unless the editor asked me to. Yeah, I know. Shocking, right? Totally shocking. This was a fun figure here. I mean, just inking Jim was just fun. There's no other way to describe it. It's just fun inking Jim stuff. I enjoy inking. I've only inked a handful of people in my career, and I've enjoyed inking every one of them because basically it was my choice to do it. Maybe if Marvel was owned by the largest media company, they could afford an artist or cap. Oh, wait. Yeah. Yes, they're cheap. Marvel and Baby Birds have in common. They both are cheap. And the funny thing was, after I did other jobs, after this one, inking wise, like the Ron Lim Thanos annual I did, I said, oh, well, this is a different editor, so I guess I'll be getting my full rate. And they said, oh, no, this job falls under the lower budget as well. So basically, once I got my B rate, I never saw my A rate again. So if Marvel would practice quality over quantity, they'd be in better shape. They would. And I agree, DC as well. Another super fun, super fly page. Fly, get it? Pun intended, with all the buggies in the background. All the buzzicles in the background. Nice close-up of Annihilus here. Of his face. If Jim was like, hey man, even though I did full pencils, go to town. I don't care if you quote unquote Kevin Nolan them up, go to town. It would have been different, but it would have taken a little longer. Fragaboom nailed it. They're criminals. You know who else I did finishes over? I did 4 issues of Legion of Superheroes over Dan Jurgens, and I did finishes. Those I believe I do have scans of that I can show. So you can actually see Dan Jurgens' breakdowns and my finish inks. And the editor on those, because they were breakdowns, he literally said, if you want to go Kevin Nolan on these, go ahead. And he didn't mean the style. He didn't mean if you try to ink this stuff like Kevin does, Dan Jurgens. He meant if you want to really impart yourself over these Dan Jurgens layouts, breakdowns, feel free. So I'll definitely have to find those on my computer and do a stream showing the before and after to a couple of those issues, because there's a huge difference. You can still see it's Dan Jurgens' pencil like layouts and storytelling, but you definitely see my finishes and my style as well. You and me both, Dan. You and me both. Did you get the opportunity to give your critique on pages once they're colored? No. I know Jim did, but I didn't, which is fine. It's Jim's, baby, him being the writer penciler. So, Jurgens is a great storyteller, and you hook him up with the right finisher, and you got great stuff. So, needless to say, this big shot of Gladiator here, all ripped and bleeding and stuff, was fun to do. Thanos coming through this portal. I also did 2 issues of Legion over Jeff Johnson's breakdowns as well. And I've got scans of that stuff too. So I have to show scans of that stuff too, where I did my finishes over Jeff Johnson's breakdowns. Once again, you can still tell that Jeff did the storytelling, obviously, in the art, but you see a lot of me in it because they're my finishes over his breakdowns. So I'll have to show that stuff. I love this dude right here getting shot in the first panel. Hyper Kaiju, thank you very much for posting that link. Trying to get this page to move right here. Come on. There it is. Really enjoyed this shot of this guy getting shot. I like the way Jim does wrinkles and clothing. So just adding a little bit of spice to that with my inks. If you look at the outlining with the brush, there's a nice bounce to it to give the stuff form and volume, because that is the job of the inkers, to try and give volume and solidity to the pencils. I believe Jim added the Warlock symbol on all these pages as well. I think he basically had one in Photoshop that he could just pop in and add to all the stuff. You damn right we are. We are going to bring First Man to 15K, less than 15 to 50K, and we're less than 15 away to get it to 50K. Wait, isn't into what? What am I not into? What am I not into? What are you talking about? Oh, I love solid black stuff like this on costumes. I love that type of stuff. Yeah, what am I not into? Now I'm confused. Why are you confusing me so much? As you can see, Jim went in and added some more buggies in the background. Well, that's why I do that on First Man's shoulders. I love the solid black, so that's why First Man's drawn that way. Comic artist, you're not into doing First Man 3 Butchered at Birth. Yeah, I don't think that's going to be the title. Got to be honest with you, I don't think that's going to be the title. This page definitely had more work involved. Whoa. To it, but there's always certain things on the page that are just super fun to do. On this page, it was this big shot of Star-Lord with his mask on. You just need to tell your wife to take a chill pill because you're busy watching a cool live stream. That's what you need to do. Just kidding. I totally understand that. I like the way Jim pencils hair as well. He's an old school penciler. It's all there, but when you get into the nitty gritty of it, you definitely see stuff you have to get the inking on. You have to interpret, blah blah blah. Butchered at Birth sounds like the name of horror manga. It does. First Man 3, First Blood, Part 2. Ooh. Another one has a nice close-up of Thanos here. Nice tight close-up. I got the ink. This you can really see where I not deviated, but did my own type of thing with the rendering on his cheekbone here compared to what Jim did. You know, when I look at it, I go, oh, Jim's doing feathering into the black. So then I go, okay, well, this is how I'm going to do the feathering into the black. It's how I interpret it. And interpretation is a lot of what goes into good inking. So nice little close up right there. Thanos too. And a figure shot. Came out nice. Oh, these were inked directly over the pencils. Oh yeah, no, these weren't blue line. These were inked on the original pencils. I just scanned the pencils before I ink, because then if something tragic happens to the original art while I'm inking, I could do a blue line of the pencils. So no, these were inked right on Jim's pencils. There was no blue lining done on these. Most of the inking I've done in my career has been over original pencils, not blue lines. Cool shot here, this dude getting tackled, Annihilus. There it is. Yep, I inked the 2 issues over Jeff Johnson. I believe those I blue lined because he emailed me JPEGs of his layouts. So those I printed out in blue line. So I own 2 full issues of Jeff Johnson Legion books. I own 2 full issues of Legion of Superheroes over Dan Jurgens because those were inked on originals. But because I did over breakdowns, it's a 50-50 art split. And because Dan and I did 4 issues, instead of splitting up issues, we said, why don't we just split it up? Instead of splitting the pages up in the issues, we just split the issues. So I got 2 full issues of Dan Jurgens' Legion of Superhero stuff stashed away. Yeah, this was a fun one to ink too. Jim does nice angles on stuff. What does? You mean inking in original pencils? I mean, that's how it's been done for years and years and years. This whole blue line thing is something that just came about, and honestly, I preferred if it was gone and it was just inking over real pencils. I think blue lining is just ugh. But when you got a lot of artists that live in Brazil that need to be inked, it's easier to just you know, email the art over to be inked than use FedEx. So fun little page here with some nice lighting going on in this first panel. And of course, the second panel. Well, the second panel has the establishing shot of the Guardian ship, which was cool. But then we get to a nice interior shot of the ship, which was even funner for me to do, inking wise. I love being able to see it come together with the amount of blacks that Jim does on like this tech. And I love he fills it all in too, man. He doesn't X stuff. He fills all the blacks in. And then in the inks, it just looks so cool. Really, really good stuff. My goal is to make a comic my goal is I want to make a comic 100 analog as it was in the Golden Age, Silver Age, even down to shooting the pages instead of scanning. Oh, that would be cool. I'd love to have my stuff lettered on the originals, but it's just not worth sending the pages to a letterer and then waiting for him to come back. So this was a busy page, not too many big shots on it. It was fun though. I am Groot. Nice big shot of Groot here. Looks like Groot had somebody take a bite out of him. He must have had a run in with Jaws. Jaws' kid, because Jaws would take a bigger bite than that. But there's Groot. Jim kicking it with these backgrounds. He does not skimp on backgrounds, that's for sure. I love this panel with Star-Lord right here, all this dead space, because there was lots of balloons right there to fill up the space, which, you know, when you're writing the book, you know how much dialogue you're going to have. Same with the panel next to it. Lots of dialogue, so no backgrounds needed. And of course, this last panel looks really good. Or not last, second to last with Pip. Pip the troll in the foreground. But a fun shot of Drax and Gamora back there. Yeah, lettering on the board is so fun. Letter it yourself, Andy. I know that the Kubert School taught lettering. They did, and my lettering sucks. So Groot looked like Big Bird. That's funny. First Man 3, biting the essence. Yeah, no, I'm awful at lettering. My lettering is really bad, so that'll never happen. Yeah, that'll never ever happen. Me lettering stuff on the board. Not much going on there. Oh, this was a fun one. What page is this? 53. Let's see if Jim worked up a lot more stuff there. Nope. I inked all those little ships, and Jim was like, "No stat in there, Smith. Ink the ships and shut up." So I said, "Okay, yes, sir, yes, sir." I think one of my favorite things on this page is the back shot of this dude. There you go. First Man 3, hand lettered. Val says, "Show us your lettering." I think I might have done some stuff where you've seen it. Fraggle would fill those backgrounds up with machines and stuff. He would. That's true. He would. Dan Fraga equals the new George Perez. The thing I like about Jim's pencils is there's just a lusciousness to them. You know, you look at the back shot of this guy and they're just lush. The way he fills the blacks in and the way his rendering comes out and stuff, they're just really lush looking. And like I said, once all the shadows are filled in and stuff, it just comes together so well. He just does such a nice job. And of course, a nice big shot of Annihilus. Somebody I'd like to ink, and I've inked for fun, is Neil Adams. You know, I've inked a couple things over Neil just for fun, but I'd love to ink actual pages over Neil Adams. I love doing this type of cross hatching too. You know, Jim would do this cross hatching, right? Like here and back here. And I just love doing that stuff as well. It's just fun to play with. I don't know if I have this page still. I think I sold this one. Even this stuff in the foreground. Jim does this bug's leg in the foreground really big. So just really fun stuff. Since you operate so remotely between pencils, inks, letters, and colors, how do you stay in contact, especially the language barriers? I don't have to talk to anybody. honestly. I mean, Jim and I are friends. So, Jim would send me pencils and I would just email him and go, Jim, I got the latest batch. They're really cool. I would email Jim JPEGs of stuff, but I never talked to the letterer on books like this. I talk to the letterer now, of course, but it's all just through email. And my letterer lives in California, and I went to the Kubert school with him. No language barrier. Fragga Boom's new pages remind me of Michael Golden mixed with Frank Quietly and Jeff Darrow, but all with that Fragga flair. Dude, I cannot wait for Black Flag. It's going to be so awesome and so worth the wait. So worth the wait. I love floating stuff like this. Little floating display. I think stuff like that's so cool. Blastar. Page of ships blowing up and explosions. Oh, another big shot of Annihilus. Some destruction. This was a fun one to play around with the rendering Jim did on Annihilus's torso. Just in general, I loved playing around with the way Jim did his rendering and how I would ink it. Like right here in the rib cage, as he has the lighting wrapped around the bottom of the rib cage, and he kind of did this cross hatching, and then how I interpreted it, I thought came out really well. Yeah, I mean, I'll go on record and say that I think I was Jim's best inker. Just saying. Other people have stepped up, of course, and done awesome jobs inking Jim, but I'm a little biased, I'll say, and I think I did a damn fine job inking Mr. Starlin. So this was an easy page, easy peasy page. The fun part of this page, believe it or not, was this rock thing. Let me just do this. The funnest part of this page was this rock thing they're standing on, playing with the different textures and stuff. Doesn't seem like that would be fun, but this was really a fun part of the page to do, playing with the different textures and getting the fade just right that Jim did. It's kind of like Jeff Bezos' rocket ship. Boom! Is Jim still on good terms with Marvel, or is he sour because of the lack of royalties? I don't think he is, but I don't know for sure. I want to say that the last Thanos project he did, he told Marvel, this is the last Thanos project I'll do for you people. But maybe I'm wrong. I honestly don't remember. So don't quote me on that. That's between him and Marvel. Let's just buzz through here. Oh, that was a fun close-up right there. This was fun. Let's see what I did. Did I see Shatner in space? Of course I did. Yeah, this was a fun close-up here. Let me zoom that out some so you can get a better look at what it was more like when it printed. So yeah, that was fun. The way Jim did the feathering coming off his jawline here, I really thought came out nicely when I interpreted it to inks. So, oh, this was fun. Damn it, too big. This cross hatching right here, let's see what Jim did. Yeah, this cross hatching right here on the side of Thanos' head was really fun to do and interpret. You can see Jim did cross hatching here on his cheekbone, right? Jim did cross hatching, and I was like, nah, I don't think cross hatching is needed. So once again, as the inker, I made a decision. So do you think he was light boxing pencils? Yes, I do. I think he was. Do I get copies? I used to. Marvel was never that great about sending copies to the creators, but on this stuff they totally dropped the ball. So I would just pretty much go out and buy my own. So, yeah, that's the way it goes. Hello, I'm back. That is all I got time for today. I got to get back to work since I'm going to be out of town this weekend, and tomorrow is not going to be a great work day. There's no way I could have done anything like that without having drawn through the whole thing, then crop it after. He might have. When I draw stuff, I do stuff like that. I'll draw through the whole thing and then light box it. So, good morning, Skip. How are you? Thank you for joining the show. Unfortunately, I've got to take off. I don't know what my plan is for tomorrow morning yet. My daughter works early, so I might be here. I might not. I appreciate you all. Once again, go get yourself some First Man right here. Awesome. This is awesome. You can get, if you're a fan of my art, you can get First Man Volume 2 and the Black Book, 112-page hardcover art of me. Here's some new pages that I've shown before, but I'll show you guys again. Look at that lab. You know, when Dan Fraggy does that detail, I got to be like, I can do detail. So, and it's fun to see different people's versions of like lab equipment and stuff, because we're all just making it up, baby. We're all just making it up. You're welcome. 11:30 again works for tomorrow. I might be able to do that. You're very welcome. We will try and do one. Oh, Frag is going to kick my ass on Fragtober because he's so much faster than me. So we'll see. Do a Fragtober panel on stage. That'd be fun, but they probably already have that stuff set up. So I don't know. But go back First Man now. Share the campaign. Let's get eyes on it, people. And until later, I'm not saying until tomorrow, but until later, sometime tomorrow, I'm bringing this back. I'm bringing something back. Yeah. Go ahead, go with it. 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 Sexy go. Go ahead, go with it. Sexy go. Go ahead, go with it. Sexy go.